everyone, George here, and in this video we are going to change this aesthetically challenging aquascape into this. For you. This tank belongs to my very good friends Nikki and Neil. My wife and I stayed over here last night, had a lovely dinner, some drinks, etc. And I just had to give this tank a makeover. It's absolutely chock-a-block full of Malaysian trumpet snails. There's a couple of glow light tetras and neon tetras in there looking really healthy, but as you can see, it isn't looking its best. There's a defunct filter in the right there, so we'll get rid of that. There's this ugly hang on the back filter here, so we'll get rid of that. I'm going to completely make this tank over. New substrate, new hardscape, new plants. And yeah, I'm really excited. I love doing this sort of thing. So yeah, it might be a new kind of theme for the channel, doing tank makeovers. Let me know what you think in the comments. So I've just put the light on. I think it's going to be okay to grow plants. I'm not sure what the wattage is. It's an All Pond Solutions LED, mixture of white and blue. Not perfect for plant growth, but we'll get some easy plants, which I'm sure will grow happily under this light. We're not going to use CO2 injection, so we'll definitely have to stick with easy plants. The tank itself measures, I think it's 60 centimetres by about 30 by 36, so this gives us around 60 litres or 15 US gallons. And next step will be to go to the local aquarium store. It's Maidenhead Aquatics Lincoln. It's actually only 1.5 miles away from this house, so I'll go there right now, and then hopefully we can get some nice materials to completely transform this aquarium. Okay, I'm back from Maidenhead Aquatics in Lincoln. Quick shout out to the staff there, Kev, Rob and Tom, for helping me out. Thanks guys. And yeah, I've got everything hopefully that we need to transform this aquarium into something a lot more aesthetically pleasing. So we've got a new filter, we've got substrates, we've got plants, we've got hardscape. So everything that we need to transform this tank into something a lot more aesthetically appealing. So next step is to strip this down, and then we can think about making a plan on how we create this new aquascape. So we've netted the fish out, we've given the tank a good clean. The fish are in a separate bucket with the filter and the heater running to keep them safe and sound whilst we do the rescaping. Now the thermometer there you can see on the left, that is really tough to remove. So I've just switched the tank around 180 degrees and that will hopefully be hidden by the internal filter. The original intention was to fit a black background on here, but unfortunately they didn't have any in the store. So we'll stick with the no background effect for now and then maybe put a black background on there later. So it's looking really nice and clean. Now we're ready to actually start some scaping. So we'll undo all the bags, have a look at what we've got and talk through the process for you. Okay, now we're ready to fit our substrate. Unfortunately, the shop didn't really have any aquarium soil, which I like to use, tropical aquarium soil, etc. But I have got some beautiful cosmetic gravel, and what we're going to do is we're going to rely on liquid fertilisers to feed the plants. We can also add root capsules or nutrition capsules later on if required, but we're using easy plants. Most of them are easy stem plants. So these actually like to prefer to get their nutrients from the water. I've just fitted the filter and the heater. The heater's from the old Scape. It's a brand new filter, but what I'm going to do is transfer some of the old filter media into the new filter, so it's going to seed it and hopefully won't experience any new tank syndrome or ammonia spikes, etc. Also, we'll be getting really good plant growth hopefully, so this will also help deal with any ammonia spikes that we may experience early on. So now it's time for the hardscaping process, the backbone of the layout. Really important to get this right. High impact hardscape makes it much easier to create a nice aquascape. 3 pieces of mapani wood there and 3 stones. Hopefully we can come up with something lovely. The hardscaping materials was quite limited at the shop, but I picked out the best I could and I'm hopeful that we can create something quite lovely. Okay, we've come up with a basic hardscape layout. The stones are just there temporarily, hopefully, to prevent the wood from floating when we do fill up. What we can do is slowly lift the rocks off as it fills, see if the wood tries to float and then keep the stone there if it does. If it doesn't, we can remove the stones properly and then add them into the scape. Very, very basic layout, 3 pieces of wood. I might have a little tinker around later just to try and improve the layout, but you can see the basic idea. Very, very simple, and using the materials that I had access to in the store. Now it's time to prepare our plants. I think I've got 16 pots here altogether, so heavily planted, which is ideal, especially in a kind of a new setup where we really want to focus on creating lots of plant growth. This is going to help fight off any early algae issues, which are really common. So we've got a real mixture here. These are the best plants that I could find in the store. Unfortunately, there's no real foreground plants, so we might have more of an open sand foreground here. But we do have some beautiful background stem plants. We've got a mixture of Hygrophila polysperma. We've got Ludwigia palustris green, which I've actually never used before. We've got some Rotala rotundifolia, Cryptocorini wendetii brown. And then there's some Hygrophila coriumbosa, so I'm not sure if this will go in the mid-ground or the background, so we'll just have to kind of experiment a little bit, I think. And we just have a little bit of Juncus repens there as well. And finally, we do have some trident fern. Very different to the Tropica trident fern, much kind of broader leaves. So I guess this has been grown, or it will definitely been grown immersed. And yeah, very interesting just to see a different form of trident fern, much like I said, much kind of fatter leaves. So it'd be interesting to see how it looks planted. We're now fully planted. As you can see, we've left the foreground quite empty there because we didn't really have access to any foreground plants, but we have planted the Cryptocorini wendetii brown towards the front of the stone, and then the Hygrophila coriumbosa. Now, I'm not sure how tall this will grow. It depends on which variety of coriumbosa it is, but it could potentially get really tall. So I'll let Nikki and Neil know how to trim, give them some trimming training, so to speak. And moving over to the back, we've got loads more stem plants. We've got the Ludwigia palustris green, and then the Juncus repens there, right in the centre of the screen. Moving over to the Rotala rotundifolia. And then over to the right we have the Hygrophila polysperma, and then more Hygrophila coriumbosa and the Cryptocorini wendetii green there on the right. And then finally, as our focal point plants, we've got the Nicosorum terapus trident, the good old trident fern. So very, very simple layout, nothing too complicated. Lots of stem plants which are hopefully going to help any algae issues, help prevent any nuisance algae. We've obviously given the tank a really good clean beforehand, hopefully got rid of all those Malaysian trumpet snails and BBA and other types of algae as well. So now we're ready to fill, nice and slowly with a colander. Unfortunately, this scape wasn't actually planned at all. It was a very much heat of the moment thing, and I just sort of mentioned to Nikki and Neil I'd love to rescape your tank when I arrived yesterday evening. So didn't bring any tools with me at all, so that's why I used my fingers to do all the planting. And yeah, just a very off-the-cuff scape, so no planning, just relying on the materials that I could find at the local Maidenhead Aquatics here in Lincoln. So, time to fill up with water. Like I said, no red colander this time, but we do have a green colander, so next best thing, I guess. Okay, let's fill up with water. We've filled up with water, switched the heater and the filter on, and it is looking really lovely already. Obviously a lot more growing in to do, and as I said before, a little bit limited on the plant selection. Fish are in there, they'll settle in eventually. They're obviously just adjusting to their new home, not coloured up just yet, but I'm sure they will do in a few hours or so. And the most important thing is Nikki, Neil and Ethan and Anya, our friends and their children, are really happy with this. We've actually switched location of the tank. It was in their living room where that empty space is in the centre. You can see the old cabinet there. But we thought it'd be a great idea to actually have a bit of a welcoming feature to the home. So we've switched it onto this lovely unit here. Not really sure if you should go for a black background or not. What do you think? I don't think it needs one really. I mean, it would help to obviously camouflage that filter in the heater. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think we need a black background? The stone is interesting. It's not my first preference of stone, but it is the nicest stone that they did have in the store. Obviously quite red here. The red of the Rotala rotundifolia, that might get a bit more red as it grows towards the light. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. We've got the other stem plants which we've talked about already in the background. The fish are kind of coming out a little bit more now. It's good to see. We've dechlorinated the water. We've put some mature media in the filter, and then hopefully the fast kind of growing weeds in the background there, these are all easy, fast growing stem plants which are great at removing ammonia. So I'm hopeful, well, I'm confident in fact, that we won't get any ammonia spikes. I've had a chat with the family. They're going to be doing 50% water changes every other day for the first few weeks, and then they'll switch to a 50% water change once a week, adding a little bit of liquid fertiliser every day to keep those plants well fed. There isn't any nutrients in the substrate, so it's really important that we do feed a good quality liquid fertiliser every day. So, quick rundown of the system. We've got the All Pond Solutions LED. Let me know in the comments if you know what power these are. Interested to know. It does seem quite bright, although you can never really sort of tell without a PAR meter how actually useful the light is for the plants. So I'm relatively hopeful. I'm hopeful that the plants will grow really well in this light. They're all easy, like I said. So it's just a reminder of what we've got here. We've got some maponi wood, 3 pieces here. We've got some of this kind of reddish stone. I've actually got a piece on top of the wood to keep it all weighed down just in case it wants to float. The plants are soon going to kind of grow over this stone and make it look a lot more naturalistic. The plants will need trimming, the stem plants will need trimming quite frequently, so I've had a chat with Nikki and Neil and let them know how to do that. They can also, of course, listen to my podcasts and read my forthcoming book that's coming out soon to learn all about trimming as well. But I'm really happy with this. It's a very, very basic aquascape, nothing too fancy. But I think you'll agree it is a huge improvement on the previous layout. We've removed all of the algae, we've removed all the pest snails, we've got healthy plants in there. We're going to hopefully look after those plants as well as we can. That's going to help keep algae away. Hopefully there's no snail eggs remaining anywhere. It's a completely new substrate, so I'm relatively confident that this will be a relatively trouble-free aquarium if it is maintained appropriately. So no pressure. Nikki, Neil, Ethan and Anya. Finally, I want to say thank you so much to my little apprentice, Ethan. He's been helping me throughout this whole process, cleaning the tank, preparing the plants, getting the equipment ready. And it's his first real kind of interaction with aquascaping. So really happy to help introduce Ethan to this amazing hobby, and hopefully he'll become a budding aquascaper as well. So that's it for now, guys. Really hope you enjoyed that one. Just a very impromptu vlog. I had no intention of doing any scaping this weekend, but I just couldn't help myself. And there's a nice shop just down the road, and I just thought, why not? Let's treat my friends to a brand new aquascape, and they're really happy with it, and that's the main thing. So hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did, give us a like, leave us a comment as well. Always interested to know your thoughts. Okay, you take care. Keep on scaping. Cheerio.